Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something that is really cool, something I've been quite excited about, and something that is from an artist that I haven't had the pleasure of checking out in quite a little while. This is from Prehistoric Beast Models. Quite a ways back, I did review a super cool big Allosaurus bust that he had created that was basically inspired by the Walking with Dinosaurs Allosaurus. But he's recently gone ahead and created this, which is clearly a baby sleeping Carnotaurus. And of course, I love Carnotaurus, so I knew that I really was going to love this one. And in hand, I can say it's really quite beautiful. And although I've only really taken a look at one of his models in person before, this is definitely the best work that I've seen from him up until this point. Very clearly showing some extremely impressive improvement in his sculpting skills over time. Not that his Allosaurus was bad, because I really love that model, I really do. But this Carnotaurus is definitely another step up when it comes to his sculpting skill. But what's really cool about this is I actually really like the colors of this version here of this cast. I think he's given it a really cool kind of like a silverish tone. And let me actually just readjust the camera here. But even my wife, when I first pulled it out of the box, she was looking at it and I was like, look at this baby Carnotaurus. And she instantly was like, wow, I really like the colors of it. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's really cool, but unfortunately I'm going to paint it, so we won't see these colors for long. But it does have this really neat sort of silverish color to it and has almost like an iridescence to it where when you turn it in certain directions, you kind of see other colors. I can almost see like purples and greens and stuff. I don't know exactly how he's created it with this color, but it looks really, really neat. But if we start here in the head sculpt of the Carnotaurus, very clearly we can see again the eyes are closed. We've got the nostrils sculpted out here, some very nice looking scale detail, and you'll see that through the course of the entire figure. His scale detail is definitely really quite impressive overall, I would say, and the actual cast of his Carnotaurus is also really quite crisp and quite vibrant. We can see those little horns poking up there on the top of the head. Obviously, our little baby Carno does have some fairly small horns at this point in its life, and if we turn here to the front, we can see again a little bit of a different style to the scales moving up and over the top of the head. They definitely become a bit larger as we lead up and over the top of the head, but then kind of transition back to smaller, finer scales as we move back, heading toward the neck. We start to see all of the osteoderms popping up, of course, as well, which is very much so a trademark of Carnotaurus. We've got the ears sculpted out back here, and then obviously we can see our Carnotaurus does have lips and is currently sleeping, again with the mouth closed. On the underside, we can see a very different style to the skin texture, kind of crocodilian-like, I would say, to the way it looks down here on the underbelly of the dinosaur. Moving back, you've got a few creases here in the neck, which look really good again, kind of showing off that slight left turn to the neck of the Carnotaurus as it's sleeping. We can see all of the osteoderms following along the back and again down along the side of the spinal column and even down here into the side of the dinosaur in general. Moving back into the stomach, we've got some more very vibrant scales, basically fairly large scales moving through the body, but still very vibrant. We also have the arms sculpted out, but they're down here on the underside of the Carnotaurus. But you've got the arms held into the body in a really nice natural way for its sleeping, which I actually think, on top of looking natural, is also quite adorable. But the skin texture also looks pretty good there moving down the arms. You almost kind of see like some slight scoots through the fingers, sort of, as far as the way he sculpted them out. As we lead back up, we've got, again, tons of osteoderms up here in the back of the dinosaur moving along, and even a few more kind of extending down into the thigh. We can definitely take note to the musculature of the thigh as well as the calf. That's definitely because of the legs kind of scrunched up. You've got a nice big bulging calf muscle right there. We have the knee in the front of the leg, and then as we move down into the foot sculpt, we have some really nicely sculpted out toes. You've got some scoots moving over the top of the toes, and the nails as well sculpted quite nicely. They do have a bit of a genuine sharp look to them, and you can see the foot there on the opposing side as well does feature the dew claw, which is definitely a plus. And then we lead out here into the tail, and the Carnotaurus does have a nice long tail that does kind of curve back around up toward it, which again I think just shows off the nice sleeping position for the Carno. We've got some more osteoderms and stuff leading out, but they start to kind of taper away as you lead out through the course of the tail, and then you lead out and you again just have some very nice looking skin texture the rest of the way out. And then when you look at it from the opposing side, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference from one side to the other for the most part, because it's not like it's in any sort of like a drastic different turn position outside of the tail. It does have that slight turn to the head and neck kind of facing away from us, but that's for the most part about it when it comes to the difference that you'll see on this side compared to the other side, you know, moving through. Everything else looks pretty close to the same. You've got, again, that nice foot sculpt there just kind of resting, the tail now curving away from us. And if we look at the underside, again, you do have all of the, again, almost like crocodilian sort of scales moving along through the course of the figure here. And I think that might be the cloaca right there as well, if I'm not mistaken. So overall, it is a really, really nicely sculpted Carnotaurus, definitely showing the current skill of Prehistoric Beast models and how much he has improved over time. It's very impressive, but also a really cool sleeping Carnotaurus. So at this point, I'm going to go grab some paintbrushes and some paint. I'm going to get this guy painted up and we'll bring it back and check it out when it's done. So here is my finished and painted baby Carnotaurus. And I went ahead and kind of gave it my best, interpretation basically of what I think a baby Jurassic World Carnotaurus would look like, with the kind of reddish brown color that they have. And I went ahead and gave it, like, obviously this isn't going to perfectly match to the way you see it in the film, because you're going to have a little bit of difference, I would think, when it comes to the colors of a baby compared to the colors of an adult. So I really wanted to try to kind of capture that sort of look while still remaining kind of close to what the adults look like. And I feel like it turned out pretty nice overall. And honestly, the sculpt by Prehistoric Beasts models is really well done. Like, it's actually super fun and super easy to paint because the detail is so good on it. It's so crisp, it really pops. It's the type of detail that allows you to put, numerous different layers of color onto it, and all of the layers of colors really shine quite nicely. So I have to give them props overall on such a nicely done sculpt for their Carnotaurus. But again, once you really get some paint work on it, you can definitely see again how it just comes to life so nicely. And I added some gloss and stuff in certain areas, like to the nostrils. I added a little bit of gloss there in the eye to make it look like maybe the eye is slightly watery. You can even see a little gloss here and there as you move around the mouth, so it kind of looks like maybe there's some slight drool in the mouth of the Carnotaurus while he's sleeping. But again, it turned out, in my opinion, pretty nice, and I'm really quite happy with this one. Definitely my new favorite model from Prehistoric Beasts models, because this thing is really well done. Overall, as far as a size goes, it's not gigantic by any means, but it's nicely sized. You're looking at about 7 3/4 inches, or around 19.5 centimeters, and you're not going to get much in the way of a height because it's laying down, but the highest point would probably be the back, which is heading toward 1 3/4 inches, or a little over 4 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Carnotaurus, and you can see the Carnotaurus, again, isn't absolutely gigantic, but is pretty nicely sized as a whole. It's not tiny, but it's not huge, which is nice because it's definitely a nice piece to add to any collection, because it's not going to take up too much room while still looking pretty impressive. And then for a comparison next to a Mattel Carnotaurus, this is a Mattel Carnotaurus that I had painted quite a ways back, like quite a few years ago now at this point, but you can see again roughly what the size is of this version of the Carnotaurus from Prehistoric Beasts models, but also gives you a nice little idea of what the baby looks like here as it's sleeping, again with, I don't know if I would consider this an adult in comparison to that baby, but when it comes to two different styles, two different versions of Carnotaurus. Now, I don't think we need too many comparisons this time around, but for a few more, we have a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus next to the Carno, showing you that, again, it's kind of similar in size to these guys, but a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier. For another Carnotaurus comparison, we also have the gorgeous PNSO version, which is actually a little bit smaller, as well as the How Long Good Carnotaurus, which you can see is also maybe slightly smaller. And then for one final comparison, we have the Allosaurus bust, the big owl walking with dinosaurs Allosaurus bust that I was speaking of, that he had also created, that I had reviewed quite a ways back. If you happen to have purchased that one and you have it in your collection, you can get a pretty good idea as far as how that one sizes up here next to the Carnotaurus. And I also wanted to let you guys know that if you do purchase this, he actually includes a really cool kind of dinosaur meme sticker here that you can see. So anybody that does order the Carnotaurus will also get a really fun sticker. So this brand new Prehistoric Beasts Sleeping Baby Carnotaurus is honestly awesome. Like, I really like this figure, and I'm just generally really impressed with his sculpting skills nowadays. Like, he has definitely improved drastically, and that's not to say that his old work was bad, because it really wasn't. His Big Al Allosaurus bust I absolutely loved. I think it's really cool, and he did a great job of replicating Big Al and the entire appearance of Big Al. But we also again now are focused on the Carnotaurus, and that's my favorite dinosaur of all time, so gotta give him props just in general for creating a Carnotaurus, but I think he overall did a really good job on top of, you know, increasing his ability of sculpting out texture and everything throughout, which the texturing and scale detail on this looks fantastic. He also has captured the likeness of a baby Carnotaurus quite nicely when it comes to the features. Like, you've got kind of a larger head and everything, and like just baby-like features on this, you know, the smaller horns, type of stuff you would expect to see on a baby Carnotaurus. He is captured really quite nicely, and once you actually add some paintwork to it, I feel like it really does come to life, honestly, quite realistically. Just looking at it here, it almost looks like it's getting ready to stand up and walk away, which fingers crossed that it does, because I'd love to have myself a baby living Carnotaurus. But he has captured everything else when it comes to like the fine details as well, like wrinkles and creases in the skin, the muscle definition, the ears, the nostrils, all of the type of stuff you want to see, even impressive detailing on the closed eyes. Like, it really looks quite impressive when it comes to the sculpt in every area. And again, if you do order this, you would have to paint it yourself or keep it in that original cool color, which, you know, did look really neat. I'm definitely happier having it actually painted, but it did look really cool in those original colors. So if you are interested in grabbing one and adding it to your collection, I will include a link in the description to the Prehistoric Beasts models Etsy shop, as well as their Instagram account, where you can follow them and keep up to date on everything that they are sculpting out, creating, and releasing. So make sure you check all of those links. Definitely pick up this Carnotaurus, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.